All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to another great episode on your favorite political talk show, The Truth with Ben Jokes. Now, for reasons beyond my control, I have not been able to upload videos for a while, but I'm back now, and I want to thank all of you for your patience, and I appreciate the support and the love of those of you who reached out to me during that period. Now, let's get into today's business. For about 2 months now, Nigerians have been protesting from the northwest to the northeast to the north central, southwest. People have been lamenting and hitting the streets because of the level of poverty, unemployment, hopelessness in the country. The inflation has been crazy. And some of us have even wondered how Nigerians have been able to cope this far, because over 80% of the people in this country are low income earners. And for low income earners, when inflation increases the way it did in the last 7 months in this country, most people are not expected to survive. But Nigerians have tried. They have come this far. But the federal government is saying there is no going back on these policies that brought this hardship. That despite the complaint of the people, despite the tears, the cries, they are not going back until they achieve whatever it is they want to achieve. Before I show you how they said it and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly talk about Yakubu Gowon, former head of state Yakubu Gowon. You know, when some young people in Nigeria come up and say many elders in Nigeria don't deserve the kind of respect they are asking for, you will think that these young people are just making noise until you look at the substance of what they are saying. How can, aside being a former head of state, how can an elderly man like Yakubu Gowon come out and make this kind of statement? At a time when the country is in all manner of turmoils, economic turmoil, peace is threatened, a supposed statesman is coming out to make this kind of statement. I started the civil war and I succeeded. Yakubu Gowon, February 22, 2024. And in case someone will say Igbo facts and history, this is an Igbo page. They twisted his words. Look at Sahara reporters reporting the same thing. Don't worry about criticisms from Nigerians. It happened to me when I started civil war and I succeeded. Ex-head of state Gowon tells TINUBU. Tomorrow, this same Gowon will come out to talk about building one Nigeria. This is a sensitive matter, an event that people who have wisdom wished never happened in this country. But here is an old man basking in it. And what happened was that he went to the state house to go and talk to TINUBU about what is happening in the nation. But instead of soliciting on behalf of the people, he told him that he should not mind the people. That this is how they criticize, this is how they talk. He should forget about them and continue what he's doing. This is why we keep telling the people that there is no hope with the elites. At the end of every month, Yakubu Gowon receives, I think, about 30 million naira or so from the federal government of Nigeria as an ex-head of state. So he can care less about what the people are going through. And that is why he's saying they should be ignored. The people should be ignored. As an head of state that can only boast about civil war. That is the only thing he can boast about. And he receives millions monthly. He doesn't care about the people. And this is why we keep talking, for Nigerians to know the position of the elites, so that they can unite and do what is right or suffer forever. Because the strength of the people is in their unity. Now, let us look at what TINUBU said about his policies and how Nigerians reacted. Look at how the papers reported it. TINUBU says no retreat, no surrender on economic reforms despite worsening hardship. TINUBU says his administration remains steadfast in implementing necessary economic reforms to facilitate business growth and create investment opportunities. He said this when he received a delegation from the Corporate Council on Africa, led by Florizel Laser, CCA's president and chief executive officer, on Thursday in Abuja. Mr. Tinubu also reiterated his unwavering commitment to Nigeria's economic growth and stability, emphasizing that he will not relent until his vision for Nigeria is achieved. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Look at some of the tweet reactions. This tweet by BC says, a reform that is not yielding positive results over 8 months, that people are suffering and can't afford basic things of life again. Isn't that a useless reform? And this tweet by Kenneth says, which reform is he talking about? Is it the one that the people are seeing any sign of yielding results or not? And this tweet here says, what does he know about economic reforms? Making just they play. And Providence here says, the suffering continues. That is it. That is the meaning of the statement. The suffering continues. And this tweet by Rizel says, this is the type of hubris that sunk the economies of Zimbabwe and Venezuela. Economic reforms are useless in a corrupt, inefficient system. This tweet by Daniel says, economic reforms without administrative reforms, who are we clowning if not ourselves? Now, one of the tweets there said something that I really like. It says, economic reforms do not work in a corrupt system. Let us assume, me and you now, let's assume that we don't know anything about the APC and we don't even know much about Nigeria. Let us just assume and then analyze the present situation. Subsidy was being paid, and the subsidy ensured that every Nigerian could buy fuel at 200 naira per liter. Then they said some people were the ones benefiting from the subsidy, that the people were not benefiting. So the subsidy was removed. And the people began to buy fuel at 615 naira per liter because subsidy was removed. Now, is it now that the people are benefiting? They said, no, it is not in that way. That the money will be reinvested into the economy. That is how the people will benefit. Now, the economy is crumbling. They said, no, it is not immediate. They will need time. Okay. Let us now look at how the system is functioning. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Betta Edu, was given money out of the subsidy money they said they removed to share to people. And she was caught transferring 585 million into private accounts. That matter, the way they go now, that matter has been swept under the carpet. Before you know now, this year will finish, you will not hear about that matter again. They will say the lady has been suspended. Is suspension the punishment for crimes? This is how you know that she was not working alone. Clearly, she wasn't. This is the same lady that Gbajabia Mila was her shorty when she was being screened at the Senate. The deputy governor of Lagos State came out and said they should give her a second chance. Now, what is there? All her people came out and began to talk. They were not even talking about punishment now. They said she should even be given a second chance. This is how you know, and this is what that tweet was saying, Raziel. He said, when there is corruption, if you say you are doing reforms, the people will just suffer for nothing. What we are saying is this: subsidy removal is not the problem. But before you remove subsidy, remove the thought of buying 109 SUVs at 160 million naira each for lawmakers. Remove the thought of buying SUVs for the office of the First Lady that is not even constitutional. Remove the thought of building vice presidential residence with 15 billion naira after you have renovated the ones in Lagos and Abuja with 5 billion naira in the supplementary budget. Remove the thought of traveling with 1,000 people to Dubai. Remove the thoughts of waste. And that is what His Excellency Peter Obi kept on talking about in his campaign. One of the things he talked about most in his campaign: wastage in governance. There are several areas in Nigeria that can receive significant boost several aspects of the economy and our social, cultural lives that can improve significantly if all these monies that are being thrown around on frivolities can just be gathered and just a fraction of it used. But our so-called leaders lack the political will to do this. And until the people stand up to begin to demand accountability vigorously, this status quo will remain. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una, now I dey here. So, don't go away.